Hi everyone, welcome back to Module 4. We're going to be looking at light and controlling exposure with difficult lighting situations in this module. So with us today we have Esti from City Varsity, who's going to be helping us with some of the tips around exposing and working with light.
So as you can see, we've got our lovely two models here. If you wanted to shoot them and use your light meter correctly, you might zoom in and focus your light meter on the facial areas on a lighter kind of tone. And then your shot would maybe look a bit flat, maybe a bit gray, and you might want to try a different technique by zooming out and then ignoring your light meter and using a bit of full flash to lighten up the dark areas. This will also help create a bit more contrast between your background and your foreground and for a more exciting photo.
Esti, maybe you can just take us through the situations when we'd have to deal with contrast, where there's large areas of light and then large areas of dark in different lighting situations. How would we cope with that in terms of using our camera's TTL meter?
As you can see, now we have a side light, and this means that the model's faces are only partially lit up. With this partial lighting, if you had to use your camera's TTL meter to focus on the lit areas, you would create a very dramatic and very contrasty picture, which will be very moody, and this will mean your darks will be very dark. So if you look at the model's faces, all of the shadows will be quite dark, whereas the light will be perfectly exposed. If you had to look at these models now, you'd see that the face is mostly in shadow. If you use your TTL meter to meter for this instance, the highlights will be overexposed, whereas the shadowed areas will be correctly exposed. This will also be useful for a very moody and dramatic picture. It is up to you to manipulate your exposure to create the kind of photograph that you want.
So just to recap on this module and some of the key concepts that we've covered. The first one is dealing with a difficult backlit situation where we don't have any light on the model's face. This could be outside at sunset when we're photographing a friend, and we would add flash into expose for the shadow area and add light where there's no light in the shadow. The second one is dealing with a side lit situation where we've got very contrasty light dealing with shadow and highlight, and the camera's inability to pick up both areas. So in that one we just looked at how we can expose for the shadow and then expose for the highlight to get to emphasize either the dark or the light area of the subject. That concludes Module 4. We look forward to seeing you in the forums, and thanks Esti for running us through exposure and how to manipulate light.